What it do is your boy Battle Truth coming to you live and direct from the Battle Truth headquarters. Continuing on, let's continue on with this. Something else I wanted to address. Twork said on this interview he did with Jay Black and Saga on Champion. Now, y'all can check that whole thing out on Jay Black Champion show. But here's the thing: Saga and Twork is going to be in the midst of arguing the fact Twork saying Christian using gun bars. That ain't good. It's contradictory. Saga is trying to justify while it can be used. Well, let's talk about this a little bit as I go in depth, and I'm going to give it to y'all in a row like I do. Period. Here we go. Let's get off into it.
That's not your past. When you telling a nigga right in front of you what you gonna do to him violently, that's not your past. That's right there.
Okay, true. If you're telling a person what you're going to do to him right now, that's not your past. That's you saying it now. It's a difference when you're saying, I used to do this, I used to do that. But if you're speaking in the present term, yeah, I do this, yeah, I do this. Right. He definitely right on that. Let's listen to some more.
That's not your past. You're not telling a nigga, I used to do this, but God saved me from that. And now I want to persecute you instead of choking you the fuck out. You telling the nigga that you choke him the fuck out.
Okay. He definitely true at what he's saying. And as believers, there's no way we can get around it. I can't get around it. Saga can't get around it. Loso can't get around it. Because we are set to be different and lead by example when it comes to God. And when it comes to our belief. Some of us are at different levels of faith where we have to grow into these levels of maturity. That's why the Bible continue to tell us to study to show ourselves approved. And the more we grow in God, the more we become the image of his son, Christ. Now, when it comes to pastors and leaderships, that's entirely different. Because pastors are the shepherds given to feed the flock, to educate, teach, to disciple believers, to be positioned in the faith that they may overcome these things that they struggle with. That's why pastors are held more accountable for their deliberate rebellion and actions than just believers who growing in the faith. It's a different level. When you get to the point of leadership, of being a pastor, bishop, deacons, they are held more accountable because these are things they shouldn't be wrestling with because they have evolved and grown into the revelation of Christ as certain believers, just on different levels. Where the Bible talk about being fed with milk, talking about babies in Christ. And then as you get older, you start getting on solid food, the meat of Christ. You don't wrestle with the things you did in the beginning when it was milk. Okay? Now, Twork is true about what he's saying. As Christians and Christian battle rappers, you are not to be like the other people. You can't talk about killing people with guns and doing these things. You shouldn't be. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but you shouldn't. And he's absolutely right on that. Like for instance, when I did my diss song on Rome and Chubby J, regardless to what I want to say, what I was doing it for, whether I was responding back, certain things that was said and that was wrong and out of pocket, and there's no way for me to justify it, period. And I won't justify it. I would just admit it and call it what it was, period. I'm not going to try to make it fit what I want it to fit just because I did it so I won't look bad. No, it's not true. But this what I would educate you on, Twork, that you're not knowledgeable of and probably ain't saying. As Christian men, they have a right to bear arms, a gun. You have a right. That's your constitutional right. That's your God-given right to bear arms and weapons to defend yourself and your family. You have that right by God. You have that right by the United States Constitution to do those things. But violence is supposed to be the last resort when it comes to us. We try to find other means of trying to make peace, but if there's no means to make peace, and war is something that, or violence is something that does take place, we have the right by God to fight, shoot, whatever's necessary in defense and protection of your family and life. That's a fact. Even so, God will give you the victory. That's why people have to be careful when they trying to go up against a real Bible-believing, born-again Christian, because God will give them the victory. God will give them the victory. And this is why you read in the Bible that I will make your enemies your footstool. I will give you power over your enemies. So it's how you do things. It's not just saying, it's how you do them. So Twork is definitely right in what he's saying to Saga. As Christian rappers, when y'all talking about what y'all to do to people with the guns and do all this, no, it shouldn't be that way. That's true. And there's nothing to argue. And I'm appalled a little bit at how Saga is trying to reason and justify the logistics of the conversation that's being presented by New Jersey Twork, that he should clearly understand, which is actually true. When he should have just said, you know what, that is true. That is right. Sometimes we fall short. Sometimes we get caught up in the flesh and we participate in certain things we shouldn't be doing. And we say things we shouldn't be doing. And that window is open to present the gospel, to show that God loves a flawed people, not a righteous people. God loved a flawed people. Not that we loved him, but he loved us first, even when we wasn't deserving of it, because we wicked, evil, and corrupted by nature due to the sin gene that we inherit. And God take us on as his children to make us the righteousness of his son Christ. Due to Christ's atoning death, sacrifice. But what he did, we're not right because of what we do. Because the Bible says the righteousness of men is in filthy rags. We righteous because of the life that Christ lived. And we take upon his righteousness, not our own. So that's what wasn't taught and being educated right on that situation. But Twork is definitely right. And no believer can justify operating under the power of sin as some means of bringing God glory. No matter how we think, no matter how we feel. And we tend to think that that's true. It's not true for me. It's not true for Saga. It's not true for no Bible-believing Christian. None at all. But we learn, we grow, we develop. We become more mature in the gospel. And even in our failure, it's working to the good of God's glory. Even in our failures. So Twork is definitely right in that area. And but Saga have to understand, it seems like he trying too hard to try to prove he could fit in. No, it don't work like that, Saga. You can't. You don't supposed to be like them. You acting like you want to be like them, brother. You acting like you like, but I come from there. You know we come from there. We could talk about where we come from. Right, fam, ain't nothing wrong with talking about where you come from, but here's the thing. We left that because we know the results of it. We know what happens. We know what happens living that lifestyle. We know what come. That's why we came out of it. We didn't come out of it because we fear. We came out of it because we know that this ain't something that we want to continue to do. I don't want to continue selling dope, destroying people's families. It had nothing to do with fear. I'm tired of hurting people. I'm tired of using people. I'm tired of being a liar. When I know my life is better than this. When I know I'm better than this. I want my life to mean something. I want it to stand for something. And I'm tired of running from a truth that I know that's true. God is real. God is true. God is alive. God do exist. And one day I'm going to meet him. I'd rather meet him in love than meet him in judgment. I'm not finna be sitting here playing these games with my life when people dying every day. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call on God to help me fix the things in my life that I can't fix, that I'm not strong enough to fix, that I don't even desire to fix, but I know it's wrong for me. So God, you help me. Simple as that. That being said, it's your boy Battle Truth. It ain't my judgment that's in question, it's yours. Click the link in the description box, man. Follow me on my Patreon, man. Twork was right in this situation. Saga, you was wrong. Period. No matter how you look at it. Stop trying to fit in. You act like you want to go back over to that side. No. Study to show yourself approved. Study to show yourself approved. If y'all rock with me, man, you like what I do, man, and you wanted to donate to the channel and give, you just show your love and appreciation, join my Patreon. I don't think it's right for anybody to say they support Battle Truth, they rock with me, but yet you don't want to help me grow to another level. When you saying I put in all this work every day to try to help build and make this channel better and stronger, to provide for family, you know what I'm saying? And to just make this stuff more easy and comfortable for me to continue to go live more often, to do more bigger things. When you know you're being appreciated and things like this for what you're doing, it makes you want to care more and even go even harder. So I'm just saying to those who really support me, who really understand all the hours and time that come from this stuff, support, man. Join my Patreon. And at least even when you donating to the Patreon, $5 or $10 or $20, I'm giving you content for your buck, even that. So join the Patreon. It's your boy Battle Truth. It ain't my judgment that's in question. It's yours.